Hey, 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 beautiful earth angels divine. Blessings to one and all for a most lovely Tuesday it is, I think. Yes, Tuesday evening, at least here in this side of the world. I'm just going to light some sage and give everybody a moment or two to join in with the fun for this evening's little run in Video Haven on FB for all of we. And for those who are unfamiliar, my name is Rev Roni, and I am broadcasting to you live from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So it is 8:16 our time, which is EST here on this side of the world, where we are experiencing winter in all his glorious splendor, I have to say. Not such a bad winter thus far. Blessings of love's gratitude. Do a little clap for our sage. Beautiful, beautiful journey for all of we to take together blissfully on this wonderful evening of Namaste Love's Divinity. So I just love when she comes through me. She's very poetic, isn't she? Yes. And who is she? She is what I refer to when speaking of the divine grace of Namaste Love's embrace, which for some might be referred to as the Shekhinah, the divine feminine energy of creation that allows for the manifestation of all of we to be, from the spark of that which we refer to as he, the divine masculine, which is also referred to as the Elohim or Hashem or any other number of names given. And then of course is the Ein Sof on the top, and all of this comes from a Kabbalistic tradition for those who are wondering, but labels. So many are there, and so much love's wisdom to share. Much has been coming through that I have been requested to share with you. But to do so all in one go might be a little bit too much, you know. So, woo, she's just streaming through. There's so much to discuss. The whole idea came when I said labels, because that's not what we're discussing today. But labels is another one that we can get carried away upon the wings of the labels that are adorned to we. And then on the flip side, it's also good to have the labels to understand more readily the I and me that we came to be. And then there's menopause. Oh, my dear ladies. And yes, for those who are wondering, I am going through perimenopause. I am 47 and on my way to 48. And there's another discussion for those wanting to know how to stay in great shape. Another journey for us to sojourn upon together. And then there's mental illness. And is it really? And another perspective through which we may see that which we call the mentally ill and diseased. Oh, health and wellness, fitness, nutrition, single parenthood, shifting the consciousness paradigm, the perspective through which we experience that which is life, the one that is predominantly prevalent in the now, which is fear, to the one that is ushering in, which is Namaste Love. So much there is for us to discuss that oftentimes when I've been ready to come and meet with all of you beauties here, I couldn't decide. So when one is in a position of undecidedness, confusion, or doubt, best to just not take any action and wait for the wisdom of love's grace to come through and direct you and thus for you to follow through in appropriation to that which is of love's grace. And what better way to lead one's life than to follow the pathway of Namaste Love? So on that note, as it came through me to be here, you see, this evening with you to discuss identity. Who am I? And the importance of how we respond, and I emphasize the word respond as opposed to react. So respond, meaning that we consciously are choosing how, what, why, where, when, with whom we are responding, and what, how, where, when, why we are responding with whomever, whenever we are so responding. It's responding, it's conscious, as opposed to reacting, which can be impulsive. And whilst intuitive spontaneity and impulsivity can be a beautiful thing, the carefreeness of being the me that I love myself to be, I'm not always necessarily being the me I love myself to be, and therefore reactivity might be something coming through fear consciousness, which I'd rather not. Hence, doing the best that we can to align ourselves in love consciousness by being conscious until we're there. And even when we're there, maintaining consciousness is kind of important, because we can, as they say when getting over any addiction, fall off the bandwagon. And fear consciousness is definitely a huge addiction for all of we collectively. The one that our generation, in my humbled opinion, shall be known for transcending out of or into, whichever way you happen to be looking at it. So identity. How do we respond when asked to fill in the blank after the two words, I am? And why is it so important? What difference does it make? Who gives a shit? I am. I am what? What do you care? What do I care? What do they care? Well, the you inside of you, it cares. She cares, he cares, they care, we care. We care. Because everything that happens after we answer the question of what comes after I am, those two little words, is affected. Our life is affected by that answer. And we're told a lot of things in our lifetimes coming into this world of who I am, of what comes after that, those two little words, I am, for any of we. Some of us are grown up in the most bombastic, abusive, horrific environments where we are told that what comes after I am is stupid, ugly, incapable, misunderstood, not wanted. For others, supreme, divine, amazing, unique, wonderful, and then everything in between. And the ones who grew up being told that they were stupid versus the ones growing up being told they were brilliant. I want you to take a moment now and ponder with me. Just have those two people in your mind and see them living in this world. I am stupid and I am brilliant. And when you take a moment to imagine either or, living life, interacting with people, doing the exact same things. They have the same friends, they live on the same street, they go to the same stores, they have the same job. But how does one experience life and how does the other? And when we compare, what are the differences? When the only difference between the two is that I am, number one, is stupid and I am number 2 is brilliant. Just 2 words of a difference, stupid and brilliant. But what kind of a difference does that make in their life as a whole? So if you've pondered with me there, as I just invited you to do, I think you know the answer to that question and why it's so vitally important how we consciously choose to respond to the question, what do you fill in the blank with after the 2 little words, I am? I wanted to say hi to Tony and Richie, who have joined us here on the live video feed on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for joining in and for sharing your light and your love. And I also wanted to express love's gratitude to each and every one of you. And I know some of you are sitting there going, what the hell is she saying love's gratitude to me for? What are you thanking me for there, Miss Rev Roni? I just screamed and yelled at my kid. I just told that person off. I just stole from this. I just did that. But you know what? You're here. And we all screw up. And we all do bad things, which sometimes are actually good things, but we think they're bad things. But either way, you're here. And you're playing your part, good or bad, according to any judgment of any of we. We wouldn't be without you, so thank you for choosing to be and joining us here on this Earth School in this now as we are going through this phenomenal transcendence of our species. Isn't it cool that we get to actually bear witness to the witnessing of the actual creation that we're doing? We are witnessing ourselves creating. It's quite an extraordinarily time to be alive, wouldn't you say? Yes. One might be thinking, oh, there she goes off again on one of her tangents, and I do get carried away. Love takes me wherever she wants to, and blah, 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 out she comes. But part of how we answer who I am is also understanding who we are, right? And who we are in this now is quite an amazing time to be a member of our human family, right? There was a time where we weren't necessarily seeing as clearly to be able to be being the witness and the creator simultaneously, consciously. Woohoo! So in my little intro text where I spoke to identity, I mentioned 3 things. The first one was, who is I? And the question posed was, why is it even important, first and foremost, which I hope we have elucidated with my little metaphorical example, asking you to use your imagination for a moment or two, and why it's so important. It's also important to understand that though you may have been given an identity by others, as I said in our initial example, some of us were given the identity in childhood from parents who called us stupid, whereas other ones called us brilliant. But I am stupid can become I am brilliant, and I am brilliant can become I am stupid. We are never locked down into any one identity. Another gift of being we. One of the things that some may purport to be the difference between us and the other species on the planet with our ability for free will thinking is that we actually get to choose who we want to be. We get to say what comes after those 2 little words, I am. And we get to change it continuously, consistently, whenever we so choose it to so be. Like every millisecond, we can choose to change it. One can say, I am a doctor of love, and 2 seconds later say, I am a student of healing. And then change it to say, I am a daughter, I am an aunt, I am a human. So it's important to understand the diversity, the flexibility, and the freedom that each of we has in answering that question. And even with our career and our professional pathways, can we change how we answer after the I am? And granted, some things might take a little bit more doing. I wasn't able to say I am a mother in the way I say it today after having given birth 23 years ago. Almost. 22 actually, just in December. We're moving into the 23 now. But I could have said I am a mother, I suppose, in different ways. I'm a mother of 2 kitty cats before I gave birth to my son. But there are certain things that, there are prerequisites to before we can adorn ourselves with certain titles and labels. And yet we can take the steps to allow ourselves to adorn ourselves with those labels, such as the label of Reverend that I can now adorn myself with, or High Priestess, as I'm now licensed and ordained because I took the steps necessary to do so. And so I have yet another little thing to add on to after I say I am. So it's important for each of we to recognize that we are never stuck in any one specific identity, especially those given to us by others, especially those given to us by others that we don't like, that make us feel yucky, less than, not enough. Which brings me to number 2 in our little identity conversation. So we live in a world, as I said at the beginning, which predominantly lives based within a consciousness paradigm of fear. There's absolutely no need to point fingers at anyone. I have no idea when it all began. It's been going on for thousands of years. So, it's the same thing with parents, which is another journey that we can take together in rectifying our relationships with our parents. But for the parents that told the children, I am stupid, taught them that that's how they respond, as much as we would like to point our fingers and blame our parents, we need to then look at who taught them that they were stupid, that they would teach their children that they were stupid. And then we need to look at who taught them, and then who taught them, and back and back and back we go through generations upon generations. And where it began, again, I don't know. So instead of playing the blame game, let us be where we are in the now and recognize that we have this amazing divine choice of free will to shift that answer, that response, which in a world that the prevalent paradigm is fear, can seem like a huge thing that I just mentioned to be such a simple little, yeah, you can change it, like no problem, just like, go from I am stupid to I am brilliant, like just do it, which really we can, like really it is really just like, I'm not stupid, I am smart, I am brilliant, and you just start to, but listen, people come to me for life guidance for a reason, for like week to week, because as much as we would like it to be a snap, neurotransmitters and pathways have been created, and we're trying to redirect and rehabituate. And as we start to awaken to the reality that we've been living in consciousness paradigm of fear to the one of love, there could be a little stumbling, a little tripping, a little skipping, for some soaring, but there could be a little need for balancing that occurs as we begin to awaken from our sleep, our slumber in fear consciousness, where most of us just closed off because it was just easier. It's so painful. Right? It's better for many of us. We shut down because it was just too painful to stay conscious and live a shell of who we are, because we are divine beings, and to be told that you are nothing less than, that you need to get down on your hands and knees and pray to an almighty being who has your life in their hands, and that you have no control. And if you're not praying to them, then you're on your hands and knees begging the powers that be, those that we see as authority, to accept who we are. So many chose to I can't, so just let me do what I got to do to get through and get out. But we don't affect change, and it's not the life we want for our children, and it's not what we came here for. And when you know that there is actually the possibility of the utopian being our reality, living in that shell becomes a little more difficult to do. And some of us weren't able to close our eyes and fall asleep as much as we may have wanted to. So, becoming awake. And becoming awake, what does that mean? Becoming conscious, realizing that there is a voice of love, that there is a perspective of love, that there's another way of seeing the world, of seeing yourself, than the one that we have been taught and spoon-fed since we were in utero. Again, might require some balancing, because you go from being told that you're basically, and excuse my language in advance, a worthless piece of shit that needs to beg, pray for your life, beg for the mercy of those who are better than you, to take mercy on you, to, throw you a bone or two. And then you realize that you're actually an empowered divine being as you start to awaken to the reality of we. And the reality of existence, and that everything is energy. That's the fundamental basis of reality. That is where everything comes to be, in the unseen. And that each of we is plugged in to that unseen realm of reality. And therefore each of we has this empowered ability that we relegate usually only to divinity. And suddenly we are seeing that we ourselves are also divine. Oh my gosh. It could be a little mind-blowing. All right, let's take a moment and breathe. Let's take a moment and relax. Come back down. Yes. 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 My sweet gods and goddesses, earth angels divine, are you, are we? Each and every one. I don't want to blow your mind completely, but so are all the rest of that, which is the animals, the minerals, the plants. But let's just stay with us for now. I don't want to blow your mind too off the rocker. So back to balancing. How do we do it? How do we come into the empowered state of our divinity and maintain our humility, let alone our humanity? So, humility, humanity, and divinity. Oh my, the Holy Trinity. Yes. Well, we do it by remembering all of them. It can be mind jolting. As many of we have been taught that we, again, are witless pieces of shit that need to beg for that bone, and then we come into the realization that we're actually all divine beings. And I think the key word in there is that 3 little word. It's always little words, eh? 3 little lettered word, all. We are all divine beings. We are all gods and goddesses. We are all empowered with the ability to create that which is physically manifest in our reality. All of us. And take another moment to just let that sink in. And I see that Dijen Aquarian wrote, "You are adorable and wise. Thank you for allowing me to be your reflection. Blessings, blessings. Thank you for joining and sharing your wonderful energy of love with all of we." So back to identity. Coming from being less than to being all. And still maintaining our groundedness whilst we do. Is quite the balancing act, especially because the first thing that we're doing is answering the question, who am I? And answering by saying, I am. Because before you can start to see all of everything is to see it within you. You have to own it yourself. Before you can see that your brothers and sisters of your human family are indeed earth angels too, you must own that you are an earth angel. You must own your own divinity. But you can't get lost in owning your divinity, which could be easy coming from fear consciousness because it's so greedy. It's so me instead of we. That one can get lost. Like Aleister Crowley did. Oh, he was such a magnanimous, amazing soul, and he got lost in the divinity of we because he focused on me. But we need to be able to have that divine, delicate balance of the me and the we, right? Because to be able to see out there, we first must see through me. That all is within me, that is you, that is we, that is all, that is I. That is namaste, love. So, when we start to empower ourselves, and I'm not an idiot, I'm not stupid, I'm smart, I'm brilliant, I have the power to do whatever I want to do, and you do, it's good to do that. Yes, do it, and remember that when you say that, at the end is, and so does everybody else. We are all amazing. We are all brilliant. And though you may be one of the most amazing seers, one of the most amazing musicians, someone who is an amazing messenger of love, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of others just like you, but not just like you, because there is only one you, and you are unique, being the you that you are. But every other you, that's another you, that's another me, that's another I out here amongst us, is just as amazingly wonderful of a you as well. Are you guys all with me? Yes, this is why delving into spirituality, quote unquote, or love consciousness can be dizzying. And why when we read the little cliches and the little sound bites on Facebook or LinkedIn or Google or all the social media networks, people get confused and it can get out of hand, and because of what you just experienced with me here. And yet it's so simple simultaneously. And we're getting there. We're getting there. We are transcending into the ascension of our authenticity. Little by little, bit by bit, together, as the one that we are, made of the many me's that we are. So, owning the divinity and maintaining humility and our humanity is remembering that we are all one. And every me, every you is another me, is another you, who is uniquely wonderful in each our own ways. And each serves a purpose. Each has meaning. Each plays a part in the whole, to which we are all interdependent. Just like our ecosystem. Something happens to those bees and oh my, what will be for the rest of we? Something happens to the fish in the sea and oh my, what will be and what will happen to the rest of we? Interconnected is everything. Our solar system, our cosmos, our universe. Oh my, on and on and on we go. Where it stops, nobody knows. All right, so on to number 3 in our communications of identity. Releasing identity. The importance to have or to have not. And before I continue, just to say a hello and love's gratitude to Holly Anderson, who has joined us here. Beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful to you. So lovely to have each of you here today. Those of you who are sharing that you are here and those who are simply here with us sharing your energy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And for those wanting to ask questions and to participate, please do feel free to write your comments, and I will look up every once in a while to see who's out there joining we. And I will be doing some satsang live video feeds in the future in which you, my loves, shall be the star of the show and be asking and directing where we go with your questions. So I am definitely looking forward to that as well. I love satsangs as love's wisdom comes streaming through me in response to you. It's a beautiful way for us to connect and to share love's wisdom and the messages of love's wisdom with and for the benefit of all. For each of we, although we think what we're going through is our own little personal whatevers, there are countless others who can identify with what we're going through and who benefit from our sharing and receiving. So looking forward to that in the future too. But again, back to identity. And the last little thing that I had written was about going full circle. I began with why it's so important for us to own our identities and how it deeply affects the lives that we're leading here while we're here on this earth school, and the effect that we have with this life. And for those, and I hear you, who are saying that this life is meaningless and it's just temporary and it's illusion. And then there's others that this is the most important thing. Oh, this is school. Oh, our souls are transcending. They're coming here in order to learn so that we can go to the next level and blah, 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 blah. Nobody has the answers 100,000% yet. We don't know. So because we don't know, who gives a shit? What difference does it make? You are here. You know whether you're actually a brain in a bottle or not. If we're all here having this collective fantasy, and you know you have the choice to make it better or worse, you know you have the choice that no matter what, your imprint shall be left here Why would you choose anything other than love's consciousness? Why would you consciously choose? Obviously, some of us, we are like, my life's dedication is to love consciousness, but oh my gosh, honey, catch me on a bad day. You would have no idea. Trust me, none. Okay, none. Because within me, as is within each of we, is all that we see in this reality. From the good to the bad, the beautiful to the ugly, exists in each and every one of we. And it is the choice that we are given to make, which one we want to be, what we want to foster. Right? So regardless of what we believe, at the end of the day, if this is the experience that we are having of our consciousness, then why wouldn't we choose to try and make it as wonderful and glorious as we can, right? Okay. So, backtracking to the identity, and again, as mentioned, we started with how it's so important, but at the end is to also recognize how important it is to not have an identity at all, which was kind of explained in answering the question, how do we own our divinity within humility as well as humanity? And that is by giving up the identity simultaneously as we are owning it, in recognizing that we are one with all, and that in actuality, all of we are nothing more than energy, light, wavelengths of energy, however you choose to call it, label it, identify it. We are both whatever we say we are, as well as nothing at all, simultaneously, as well as everything from the nothing. For we are one with everything and nothing. And when we can let go of all that we identify with who I am, there's huge relaxation and freedom that comes, and the recognition of what I had earlier said when beginning, that we get to choose from the void of nothingness how we want to respond to the question, how do you fill in the blank after the two little words, I am. So, on that note, I do believe we have come full circle on identity. And I thought that starting with identity, that's how it came to be, our little sojourn today, amongst all the wonderful things that love has been requesting of me to share. Identity seemed to be the one that was most apropos as we are at the beginning of this Gregorian year of 2018. As we associate shifts in time with new beginnings, and new beginnings with new opportunities. And so, though the opportunities exist in every moment of every now, always, of the millisecond of the millisecond to the nanosecond of the nanosecond, blah, 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 we tend to accept with greater propensity new beginnings and possibilities associated with timelines like the new year. So I thought it was appropriate to discuss identity at this time with all of you, so that we may together, right here and right now, make the conscious choice to choose to respond to the question, how do you fill in the blank after the two little words I am, through Namaste Love. To take the time and allow ourselves the breath, the space, the relaxed calm, to sit with and ponder upon the answer to the question, and to know that we may answer with whatever we choose, and that even in providing an answer, that we are free to change it whenever we feel is most appropriate. And again, to really make a concerted, dedicated effort to responding to the question, to responding to life, to responding to everything through love's consciousness. Let's make 2018 about responding to everything through love's consciousness, starting with the response to filling in the blank after I am. Blessings, blessings, blessings to all of you beautiful Earth Angels Divine. Thank you for joining me here. Please do visit. I've got a plethora of wonderful resources and tools and information available to all of you through my website, which has links to other sites through which even more stuff is available that I've made available to you, that I share freely with every one of we, so that we can really do the utmost that we are able to break this greatest addiction of our collective human family to fear consciousness, and embrace love consciousness, and start to live the lives that we came here to share within together, and do what we are here to do, which is play and have an amazing time sharing the beauty of we with each other. So until next time, blessings, blessings, blessings times 3 to each and every one of we, that our experience of life is our personal, individual fabulous. Until next time, I send forth bliss kisses to one and all. Namaste in Lakesh Alakin. Thank you so much for joining in. Blessedly be, beauties.